Hello, it's Scott Manley here. Today I'm going to be looking at the Titans of EVE Online. Now, many people are fascinated by these beasts. They're huge, they lead fleets, and in the real world value they can be measured in thousands of dollars. Now, most people don't actually fly Titans. In fact, many players do not even get to see them because they spend all their time in high-sec. So I've decided to go on the test server and fly around in a few Titans to demonstrate how they look and what their super weapons do. The Amerian Avatar is arguably the most recognisable Titan in EVE Online. It was also the first one constructed. The first one was built by Ascendant Frontier Alliance, and it was piloted by Cyvok, who was the CEO at the time. However, in a war with Bob, it was later destroyed. And in the system of C9NCC, there is a permanent wreck site to this Titan. However, the gravitas of this momentous loss is somewhat diminished because the Titan was called Steve. The Avatar is armed with batteries of capital-sized laser turrets and the mighty Judgment. The ultimate expression of God's divine wrath, this weapon projects a beam of the Lord's holy light, designed to put sinners in their proper place. Casting his sight on his realm, the Lord witnessed the cascade of evil, the torrents of war. Burning with wrath, he stepped down from the heavens to judge the unworthy, to redeem the pure. Well, there must be a lot of sinners out there because there are more avatars in EVE Online than any other Titan. The Gallente Erebus is perhaps the most organic looking of these monster machines, if such a thing can be called organic. Of course, with Gallente bonuses, it's very much focused on railguns and blasters as its capital weapons, and therefore it does by far the most damage when it's up close. However, being that it's huge, getting up close doesn't usually happen very quickly. It also has command bonuses, which give everyone in the fleet a significant bonus to their armor hit points. The Erebus description reads, "From the formless void's gaping maw, there springs an entity. Not an entity such as any you can conceive of, nor I. An entity more primordial than the elements themselves, yet constantly coming into existence, even as it is destroyed. It is the child of chaos, the pathway to the next. The darkness shall swallow the land, and in its wake there will follow a storm, as the appetite of nothing expands over the world. From the formless void's gaping maw, there springs an entity." Dr. Demela Macaper, The 7 Events of the Apocalypse. The doomsday device on the Erebus is the Aurora Omni. By using reverse-engineered sleeper technology and advances in focused magnetic fields, this weapon emits a beam of antimatter that is capable of obliterating nearly anything it touches, and looking awesome and green at the same time. This is the Erebus. It is believed the first Erebus built was by Cataclysm Enterprises, and it was later destroyed by Band of Brothers in February 2007. For a long time, the Caldari Leviathan was the Titan that most players could most easily see. It was possible to see an NPC version of the Leviathan parked over a Gallente planet as part of their security forces. However, they are in fact flown by players also, and indeed the recent Asakai, Battle of Asakai, was precipitated when an unfortunate Leviathan pilot accidentally jumped into a low security system instead of bridging his support fleet. It is long and angular like your typical Caldari design, and it is armed with arrays of missile launchers. The description says, "Citizens of the state, rejoice. Today a great milestone has been achieved by our glorious leaders. A stepping stone in the grand story of our empire has been traversed. Our individual fears may have been quietened. The safety of the great nation has been secured. Today, unyielding, we have walked the way of the warrior. In our hands have our fates been molded. On Leviathan's back will our civilization be carried home, and the taint of the enemy purged from our souls. Rejoice, citizens! Victory is at hand. And that's from the Caldari State Information Bureau pamphlet. Now, the doomsday weapon that is on the Leviathan is the Oblivion, using a targeting and tracking control system more advanced than any other in existence. This weapon launches and controls a storm of missile fire, capable of neutralizing almost any target. Because of the popularity of Caldari characters, there are many Leviathans out there, and they have a command bonus to shield hit points, which makes them very useful as command ships as part of large shield-driven fleets. It's not clear who built the first Leviathan, but the first one lost was a Red Alliance Leviathan lost to the Band of Brothers. The Minmatar Ragnarok is perhaps the least well known of the 4 titans, however it is no less useful, giving a bonus to fleet members' signature radius and therefore making them harder to hit. The description reads, "The liberty of our people is solely our responsibility. Tempting as it is to foist this burden upon the well-wishers, we must never forget that the onus of our emancipation rests with us and us alone. For too long our proud people have been subjugated to the whims of enslavers, forced to endure relentless suffering and humiliation at the hands of the people whose motivations, masked though they may be by florid religious claptrap, remain as base and despicable as those of a playground bully. If ever there was a time to rise, if ever there was a time to join hands with our brothers, that time is now. At this exact junction in history, we have within our grasp the means to loosen our tormentors' hold and win freedom for our kin. Opportunities are there to be taken. Brothers, we must rise." Meletu Shakor, Republic Parliament head, speaking before the Tribal Council. The doomsday weapon on the Ragnarok is the Jarl horn, I believe named after the horn that would warn the Norse gods of oncoming Ragnarok. Righteous fury given form, this weapon system rains a firestorm of unmatched destruction upon its target. If you're interested, there is an NPC Ragnarok that is discoverable in high security space. If you want to go look for it, it's up in Minmatar space, but I can't remember the system. Of course, I couldn't actually let it end there since I couldn't dock these things back up. I had to get rid of them somehow. And since this was a test server, best idea was to head into the free combat zone and see what happened. So here I am getting obliterated in my avatar. Everybody is of course ganging up on me. I have an Erebus. I have my laser shooting it. Rainbow lasers because they look good, not because they are practical. Not really much in the way of armor. I have Trimarks on this and I have some tracking adapters, a bunch of capacitor boosters, capacitor rechargers, and you see my armor is not going to last very long against the blasters of that Erebus. No, nothing can really stop it. And here come the stealth bombers. Stealth bombers from a Nyx mothership are basically going to tear through my hull. And yeah, 4 times time acceleration, of course, because otherwise this could take a really, really long time. There we go, down to 25% structure, fading out, and gone in a giant explosion. Now the next one, the Erebus, I forgot to record. So instead, let's skip forward to the Leviathan, which steps in and right away vaporizes an Archon, which was sitting there. Everybody, this is just an epic Titan brawl. Everybody had Titans on the test server and were doing their own thing. So here's me sitting there in my Leviathan while everyone else is in avatars and whatever else. But yeah, I'm just taking down whatever ships I see on target. I did get quite a few kill mails. That was I guess that's everybody shooting that Ragnarok there. I don't know what's going on. It's really hard to tell at this point. You can see the shield hardeners, of course, running on my hull. I at least had some sort of tank on this one, but nobody's attacking me at this time. I also decided to swap out the high slot jump bridge jump portal generator and replace it with a smart bomb, just in case, somebody launched a bunch of drones or whatever at me. In the end, of course, that didn't work too well, because since I was firing it off, it meant that everybody saw that I was attacking them. So as soon as they finished with their current target, they start attacking me. And from that point on, I don't last very long. You can see I'm getting muted and warp scrambled now. Not that warp scrambling actually works against Titan. You need a special vehicle, special ship that is capable of warp scrambling a supercap. See, I did not last long once my shield gave out. But finally, I have the Leviathan. Now, the Leviathan, well, it's actually interesting because it's the fastest Titan. And we all know that speed matters when you're 18 kilometers long. No, one of the nice things about the Avatar, the Ragnarok, is that with the right ammunition setup and weapon setup, it is very good at tracking targets compared to the other Titans. And in fact, there was a time when people were actually using these for killing NPCs, because you could use, capital-sized autocannons with lots of tracking enhancers, tracking computers, tracking links, target painters, and you could actually get a decent chance of in fact, it wouldn't be a decent chance. This thing would just tear through the NPC domains or whatever, the NPC spawns, and make a lot of money. Unfortunately, this really came to light when the individual in question got caught and killed, and it was rather amusing to see somebody in a Titan, basically making money. Using it as a money-making device. It really was not practical. And indeed, when people saw that, they felt that it was their duty to actually wipe it out. Anyway, I'm sitting here, you see there's somebody in a Moros, I guess. I'm waiting for the Doomsday to cycle. Now, Doomsdays take 10 minutes to cycle, and they use a significant amount of fuel in the fuel bay, so it takes a really long time to actually, between shots. Each shot does something like 2 million damage and will kill some capital ships, depending upon how they're set up. And this is the test server, so it's not entirely unlikely that things will be set up in some, super tanked setup, simply because it's free. You see all these super caps here are using remote energy transfers. They're working in a chain to protect each other, cooperating in a team, but there's a bunch of Moroses there. Those are dreadnoughts. They're designed to do a lot of damage to very slow-moving targets. That's an Armageddon. They're firing smart bombs, incidentally, in the background. Oh, what the deuce happened there? I don't know. I must have been switching around. That is an Archon. I'm just waiting. My thing's about ready to fire. My waiting for the Doomsday to cycle, and then I will hit that Archon. Hey, look at that. Whole thing dies. Beautiful. The victory would of course be a whole lot more sweet if it wasn't for the fact that he paid 100 ISK for his hull on the test server. But yes, I think I'm going to wind things up around now. Nothing much more happens. I kill a bunch more ships, but I myself do not die. The Ragnarok goes the distance, and I'm still sitting in it on the test server, wondering what to do with it. Perhaps I will see you on the test server again sometime. Until then, I'm Scott Manley. Fly safe.